The last couple of weeks I've been playing through Zelda Twilight Princess once again here on YouTube due to the release of Dusklight, the PC version of the game. And while many would say that the Twilight Realm, Dark Beasts and even Ganon are some of the most terrifying things seen in this Zelda title, I have an even better contender. Malo, that one child from Ordon village who looks straight into your soul, knows a little bit too much, and seems to be more than just a child. And today we will look at him to see what is up with this seemingly normal character. Now our story starts in Ordon village, a simple place on the outskirts of the Hyrulean kingdom, just south of Faron Woods. Now technically it's not considered part of Hyrule, but actually its own thing. Its existence largely depends upon agriculture and ranching, so this place is rather simple and underdeveloped. And here, many years ago, Malo was born. He is the son of Jaggle and Pergy, and the brother of Talo. They live in the house with the gigantic water wheel, and for the most part his upbringing seems to be rather normal. Neither his dad, mother or brother are weird or different in any way. Although Pergy does say to Link that if any of her sons are being troublesome, that he can scold them. So justice might be swift in their household. Now, despite Malo's childlike appearance, he is extremely intelligent and entrepreneurial. But he also loves to make incredibly blunt comments, and cuts through all the nonsense quite quickly. And aside from that, he seems to be incredibly impatient. This is something you will quickly notice in game. This already shows that Malo is sharp, to the point, stoic and cold, while remaining mostly in the background. Usually he interjects with sharp comments in the background, but isn't very active in the overall conversation. From what I can gather in these early moments of the game, he's very objective, intelligent, cunning, and shows very little emotion while being very reserved. However, as we all know, the game quickly escalates from here, with the children of Kakariko village being kidnapped. And so Link goes after them and ends up saving the children when he encounters them in Kakariko village. Here we get to see a cutscene where all of them are hiding in a building, trying to avoid the monstrous shadow beasts that are roaming outside. And while everyone in the room, including the adults, seem to be unsettled, unnerved and scared, Malo seems to be unfazed for the most part. Quite often in Twilight Princess you will see dialogue or cutscenes where Malo seems to be a bit uncanny. So emotionless, even though everyone around him is in a complete panic, or scared, or crying. Really, it is a bit odd to see, but it says a lot about his character. Now, after Link saves Kakariko village, the rise of Malo actually begins, with him taking over one of the stores in the village, leading to the Malo Mart Empire. With this portion of the world being saved from the influences of Twilight, Malo decides to take control of his own destiny, being quite proactive in the story all of a sudden. He ends up opening a store known as Malo Mart, which was originally a general store in Kakariko village, known as Kakariko Goods. Overall, we know very little about this shop and its original owner. All we can see is that the store was left abandoned after its previous occupant was attacked by a shadow beast, and presumably was transformed into one of them. That is at least what's being alluded to in in-game cutscenes. This woman was grabbed by one of the shadow beasts and the entire village tried to save her. But as soon as they found her and the shadow beast, they noticed that she was gone and there were two shadow beasts instead. Now Malo decides to reopen this abandoned store and brand it as his own. And when you go in there, you can buy a lot of great goods that you actually need during your adventure. But you will quickly notice that Malo can also be quite rude. When doing business, he's very much to the point, and closely follows the mantra of time is money. But overall, his philosophy is to keep prices low and serve his customers well, hoping to be a financial hero during these troublesome times. He actually says in-game, "I might not be a hero, but maybe I can help people with heroic business deals. Now, when I was going through Hyrule Historia to find more information on Malo, I actually found out that the developers really liked this character. It says, Malo, depicted here as a mischievous child, was popular among the development staff. As a result, he got his own in-game shop, the Malo Mart. And so his conquest began, driven by a need to help, which clearly shows that Malo has some emotion towards the whole situation, or the people like his brother being stuck in it. In a way, he wants to help, but it could also be that all of this is just one big facade, using this little excuse to take over this abandoned shop without anybody complaining in order to become a ruthless businessman and rise to power. However, we have no idea what exactly is true. Overall, Malo seems to be rather cold and keeps his intentions close to himself. It's hard to read this demon child. Now at this point, the rise of Malo Mart begins. After completing the Goron Mines dungeon, some of the elders come down to ask for donations to repair the eastern bridge leading into Castle Town, totaling 1,000 rupees. Now, once that's paid off, they want to raise another 2,000 rupees for buying Chudley's fine goods and fancy trinkets emporium in Castle Town. Now, as you can imagine, all of this is required in order to expand Malo's influence. The bridge is needed to import goods that would be sold in Castletown, while buying the shop is required for expanding the brand, setting up shop in one of the most populated cities in the entire world. Now, after Link is able to provide all the money, Malo takes over the shop and the bridge is repaired. Now, as soon as you enter, you will see that prices in this store in Castletown have been slashed a lot. They went down astronomically, clearly showing his overall business tactics. The customer is king, create hype around deals, and low margins to wipe out competition. Now, before he actually takes over the shop, he describes the entire situation in a rather interesting manner, almost like a crusade against an evil that must be defeated. He really tries to rally you by saying that people in Hyrule Castletown are suffering under immensely high prices, and that he is the only one that can change it and save them. You can say whatever you want, but Malo is pretty good at creating a narrative. So, what exactly are his motives here? Well, when I was on YouTube streaming Twilight Princess, everyone kept calling Malo the demon child, a terrifying character that seems much more powerful than many would expect. A bit like the Happy Mask salesman from Majora's Mask. You know, while he might seem like an overall good character, his intentions are also shrouded in mystery. And Malo has a similar thing going for himself, although it seems like there's a lot less dark magic involved and more ruthless capitalism. So what is wrong with him? Well, it could be that there's a lot wrong with him, because Malo actually means bad in Spanish, which could be a hint that he is evil in some way. Although I think it's more of an Easter egg describing his vibe from the outside. Malo is not some evil entity as far as we know. He has never acted truly malicious. Overall, he's just cold, analytical, and to the point. And it's hard to pinpoint why. It could be a personality disorder, or just due to the brother Talo being more wild, loud, and adventurous. This has made Malo the opposite, and his higher intellect help with this as well. So either nature or nurture, to put it simply. Aside from that, passion seems to be high. When taking on the Hyrule Castle shop, he actually says, "Those corrupt, price-gouging shops in Castletown are officially on notice. Soon, they will rue." Which already shows how motivated he is. And to an extent, it even seems like he's angry at these shops for screwing people over. He has a true feeling that justice is needed here. Or this is nothing more than a manipulation tactic to emotionally engage with customers against business enemies. Constructing a narrative that he is the savior and hero they need, the one shop they must go to, while any others are just trying to screw them over and are kind of evil. Which is actually pretty smart. And overall, it's hard to tell which one is true, which actually shows how good he is. Now, in my opinion, I would say that it's very unlikely that he's truly evil or something. He's just an incredibly intelligent and eerie child that has low empathy, is incredibly cunning, very direct, and maybe a little bit manipulative, which, to be honest, comes with the territory of high intelligence. Especially when you're a child, you will try to break and bend things if you're smart enough. Everybody has had this rebellious behavior in the past, after all, including Malo and even his brother Tallow. Aside from that, another thing that I find fascinating about Malo is that he seems to be a bit full of himself. Aside from calling himself the one shop to save customers and consumers in Hyrule, he also puts his face on everything he owns or is branded Malo Mart. Especially the statue that is seen in the middle of the Malo Mart shop in Hyrule Castle Town is a bit crazy. It truly radiates that narcissist vibe, and I had actually never noticed this until like a week ago when I was streaming the game. I never knew there was a mini statue of Malo at the top in the middle of the shop. So while I don't necessarily think he is evil, it seems like he has very low empathy and is quite full of himself. And this, combined with his incredibly stoic and cold behavior, makes him feel a bit scary, a bit evil, and maybe even dangerous. But luckily enough, as far as we can see, he was raised well. So it manifested in a good way, using Malo Mart and business as an outlet for his ambitions and his emotions, which in many ways actually benefit Link as well as other inhabitants of Hyrule. So while this child might look like the devil himself, he's actually rather normal. But if you look into his eyes long enough, you will get that unsettling feeling rather quickly. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little video about Malo. I just kind of looked at his character and what he says in game and how he behaves and to kind of see what he's like as a person. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this demon child, and be sure to like and subscribe and check out the streams because it really helps the channel. Yippee!